Absolutely. I'll bang the gavel just because I have to. It's great to see so many people here for the first meeting of the year. Want to take 5 minutes at the beginning, just a quick round of introductions. We don't often have time for that, but especially because it's the new year. And we have quite a few new faces. Just want to give everyone a quick opportunity to put a name to the face. Feel free to say a couple words if you want. Feel free just to say your name. Sean Besser, President of Ocean Park Association. I live on 3rd Street and Pacific, and excited to see everyone here. I'm going to start. Let's go. Is that clockwise? Turn around. We're going to start here.
Daniel Rangel, been a resident of Ocean Park for about 1.5 years. About the Avalon building.
Michelle Carlson, and first meeting, and I live up on Ocean Park in Silverfield. I've lived there 30 years, and I'm part of the network. So the LGBT wing.
Welcome. Hi, I'm Judy Abdel. I'm on the board, and I've lived in my house since 1976, but I've lived in Ocean Park since 74. So this is my home. It's on Pier Avenue between 4th and 6th. And we have 3 people at least from our block in this room. Right. Ian.
Hi, Carrie Chafin. I live on Beverly, just up at the top of the hill, and I've been here since 1990.
That's great.
Will Brinton, I'm on the OPA board and I moved here in 2017 with the 3rd and Ashland.
Oh, wow. Okay. Hello.
Everybody, my name is Eric Leslie. I am one of the rent control board commissioners. I'm the vice chair. So
I'm Patty Jan. I'm the treasurer here, and also I'm setting up the refreshments, and we've lived in our house since 1975.
so there.
Oh, and it's on Navy and Navy between Highland and
What's that, Christina?
Oh, Christina Allen. I live on Ozone. I'm just behind Patty and Dave. And I'm on the board and I take like the meeting minutes and whatnot. So
And so much
you
more.
guys.
Hi, I'm Ian. I've lived in Ocean Park. Well, I've lived in Santa Monica since '88. And I've been on the board.
Hi, I'm Dave Jan. I'm Patty Felton. Also been in Ocean Park since '75. What's this?
And I'm Lucy Stone, only here since May, and I feel guilty almost, but I live right on Pier. I just got onto the board.
Yeah, new board member.
Yeah.
Well,
Hi, my name is Dane Roberts. I live on 6th Street. I've been a member as well. And
No, it's already.
yes, Robbie Lear. I'm at 14 Park. I'm on board. I've been involved for the last little more than 2 years now, and I'm excited for this 24. Edgar Mark, Neighborhood Resource Officer for the B2 Sunset Park area. Grew up in the Pico neighborhood, been in Santa Monica since 1975.
Nice to see you.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Sir David Lee. I've been police officer for 15 years, and I am the neighborhood resource officer for B1. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Bob Wallen, we live on the 2nd and Ocean Park, 2008, which is pretty, right on the border between B1 and B2.
Steven?
Hi, I'm Stephen Johnson. I'm the fairly new chair of the Recreation and Parks Commission. I'm visiting from Sunset Park, but when I moved here in 1995, I lived down in Pico by the house of Mar, what was formerly the Brigham Center. And thank you.
Hi, Jeff Quinn, first meeting that I've been here. I live in the Sea Castle apartments down on the beach. Used to live on Pacific Street for in the nineties until 2000. I started to get into a lot of the history thing, like involved with a history walking tours program that we're doing on the Santa Monica Pier. If anybody wants to come and learn some great Santa Monica history, and that's kind of, I'm interested in a lot more history around the area of Ocean Park. So. Walk in, you gotta do an immediate intro. Great, Dave.
I'm Dave Pursuit, I'm a board member. I've lived in Ocean Park since 1992. I've been coming to the beach here since 1958.
Me too.
Time, Casa Del Mar, before it was like, before it was Predican Center, it was Synanon. Before that, it was just a rundown of the building.
I'm David Kelton and I've lived in Ocean Park for 20 years. And, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm Carmen Ruth, and I've lived in Ocean Park since 1993. And love where I live. I'm up on 3rd between Hill and Ashland. Happy to be here.
Officer Hall will be one.
Kaitlin Drisko, Executive Director, Santa Monica Conservancy, with Mario, one of our board members. So here tonight to talk to you about what we're doing at the Conservancy and the little shotgun house at 2520 Second Street. So you'll hear more from us on that.
I'm Erin Mossball. I'm a new OPA board member and I've been here for a year and a half.
I love it. Carol Zhu, been a resident in Ocean Park since 2021, so 3 years, yeah. I live on Marine between 4th and 5th.
Oh, sorry.
I came down to the beach at 55. I was hanging around and I bought a house. Well, then I lived on Fraser in 62 and bought my house in 65.
Wow.
7 rounds. And I'm only 17.
I've lived in Sea Colony for 10 years and I'm the president of Sea Colony Homeowners Association.
I'm Barbara Casa. I just joined today. So, and I actually don't live in Ocean Park, but I live in Santa Monica. I've been a resident of Santa Monica since 1996. Yay, rent control. And I live around the more northern part on fifth between Wilshire and California. But I always come to this area. I love this area. I love Main Street and support all the people.
Me?
Yeah.
Jerry Rubin, been a proud resident of Santa Monica in the Ocean Park area for many decades. And I was recently appointed to our dedicated urban forest task force. And Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Giselle Diamond. I'm actually a newbie, my first meeting ever. So thank you for having me. I'm Tony's wife.
I'm Tony.
Tony is your husband.
Yeah.
I'm her husband. My name is Tony Diamond, and we live at Raymond between 4th and 6th. And we've been together for 10 years, but I've been an Ocean Park Ocean Park resident since 2000. And yeah, we love it.
I'm Shannon Ryder. This is my first meeting, but I've lived here for 2 years and I live in the Avalon. Yeah.
And I'm Officer Hallwell.
Undercover.
He is not amused.
I'm Jeff Jarrow. Actually started OPA 20 years ago. And I also, and I've been living here since 77. I live at 4th and Pacific across from the bodega. And I did a 4th of July parade
I'm on the board here and also on the peer board.
He's one of the grand papas of.
The grab shop.
Did we miss anyone? If we're short on chairs, we can grab some more from other parts of the building. Let me know. Let's hand it over to Santa Monica Police Department. Thank you guys for, yeah, come on up here.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks
Thanks
for making
having
time
us.
to be here in person.
Yeah, Happy New Year. My first actual in-person meeting, so all the other meetings were Zoom. So I'm just gonna run over some quick stats. We'll start off with the residential burglaries. We did have 4 residential burglaries in the area. However, these burglaries consisted of 3 garage break-ins and 1 package theft from the lobby. So they weren't actual break-ins into the interior of the living areas where people were home. These were on the exteriors. We did have a spike in vehicle burglaries. Many of these burglaries happen in the beach lots. The most notable, 2 notable incidents will be 2 strong-arm robberies in the area. One of the robberies consisted of a victim who was a female transient, and the suspect was a male transient. Assaulted her, took her purse. I believe detectives are trying to work with the victim. However, I believe she's an uncooperative victim at this time, so we're still working on that, see what develops from that. The second notable incident of the strong-arm robbery consists of a victim walking down, I believe it was Oceanfront Walk. 3 male Hispanics grabbed his headphones and ran southbound. We are still working on that case. So those are the most notable incidences from December 2013 to the 1st. So violent crime is down, but we did have a little bit of a spike in the property crime consisting of vehicle burglaries. So those are the most notable incidents that we have for you tonight.
One thing I have is, thanks for inviting us. I find myself in meetings here in the Main Street area, Mid-City, Sunset Park, so we stay busy. So, wherever we can, we try to be in person, but otherwise we try to see you. So, again, always thanks for the invitation.
Did anybody have any questions for us? Sorry, anything we can answer for you guys. Yes, ma'am.
I walk down to the beach and I dog every day. It's still safe to do that because they see that there's a lot of unhoused people.
Got a lot here because I think we talked about more visibility on the beach. I think we talked about that maybe 2 months ago. So if you're seeing more visibility, that's good. We're trying to saturate a lot of patrol personnel in all areas of the city. Beach is one of them. But if you're seeing that, it's great.
There's an increase in, like displays of speed along the Ocean Park corridor.
Ocean Park.
Yeah, high-end cars. So, it's something that's been going on.
Yeah.
The last 2 years.
Yeah, I would assume there are a lot of people from out of Santa Monica visiting the beach, and they leave the beach, and it's the main thoroughfare of Ocean Park. I did speak with Sergeant Kruger, who is the Sergeant for Traffic Enforcement. We are trying to work on some sort of grant, traffic grant, where we are targeting specific areas with traffic violations. So more to come with that.
And just a thought on that, if there's something that you're seeing specifically, you can always call the number. It's a 310-458-8993. And I can, yeah, you can put that in chat, whatever, but you can just call. You can say, hey, I'm seeing this issue. Can your motors do some enforcement? And all you have to do is leave a message, speak to somebody, and they'll put it on the list and take enforcement. Again, that's 310-458-8993. Hi, again, Stephen Johnson. From the Recreation Parks, we had heard about persistent encampment in that little park in front of the library.
Yeah.
Since about mid-December, was there for a couple weeks until just recently, and actually tonight it's cleared. And I'm just wondering what may have happened to clear it.
You sent me an email.
Yeah.
The issue.
But I just didn't follow up on.
No, I didn't know it was an issue, and for me, everybody knows how, if you know me in this room, I'm very vocal and I get to the problem.
when problems fester and then say, oh, it's been going on for A, B, C, D months and I never knew about it, it's new to me. So if a radio call for service went in and the officers went out there to attempt to handle it, wasn't handled, you gotta get to the neighborhood resource officer's line and we can coordinate getting rid of it. But a lot of times, particularly now, people have seen it, they're hoping it goes away, and they account for that time. They add me to that timeline, and I'm not on that timeline. I only know about the problem when it's addressed, not when you first see it, begin to start to get frustrated, then call the police. Then I can only be accountable to the timeline in which I made aware. Now, if I get out and see it, I'm gonna do something. But don't let things fester and hope that we're going to be on that same timeline. I do want to get with Erica, who's the head librarian, and see who the property line, is it Park and Recreations? I don't think it is. I think it's a library thing. Library is going to be doing some infrastructure, and I think that is a self-serve library, which is a new phenomenon in itself. I don't even understand a self-serve library. So I actually need, that means less eyes on the ground, less people going in, less foot traffic. So in there, you're creating another set of problems that the police have never seen before. We're used to occupied spaces being occupied spaces by city services and people. So when you add a caveat that we've never seen before, where a library personnel might be going there once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, opposed to spending 8 hours a day in the library to keep people away and then immediately notify, that's a new problem set. And how do we deal with the new problem set? Just like technology. Now, before, back in the day, we didn't know how to get all this information on Twitter and Instagram. We're like, what? You called Instagram? You didn't call 911? Call us back when you're serious. Now we know how to come back at it a little easier. So when people present a new program, it comes up with a new problem set for us. So it's a new problem set to have an open building that's really not monitored, but by cameras and a couple other things. They might be trying to add some talk down feature cameras that libraries has to pay for that might go into our smart center. But these are all things that we're gonna have discussions about of where the city infrastructure is gonna go to our real-time crime center and how we're gonna respond. So please call. Call me, don't call anybody.
I can add one.
Oh, sorry, yes.
So I could add one thing. I just want to say, I reached out to Officer Hallwell last week and here it is, it's cleared. So, what he's saying is true, right? So it was great response time, I thought.
I have friends that work in the police department. They help me out.
I just want to say, I hear at 10 o'clock, almost every night, cars doing donuts somewhere close by. And it could be on Rose, so it's not Santa Monica, but it could be on Main Street as well. So I don't really know, but I have noticed that I hear them every night. So it's not just people leaving the beach, but it's more targeted.
We'll make a note of that.
Okay, and then I wanted to say, I've been working on this library issue for a while, and anybody else who wants to work on the library issue and get it reopened.
Yeah.
I love the idea of making the front part a park. The bottom part is where we used to meet, and it's a wonderful sort of community space. So talk to me after.
I also want to just, before we go to more questions, I want to follow up on what Judy was saying, because I know you guys have mentioned this before, and I just want to remind everyone, if you do hear people doing donuts, report it. Even if you think nothing's going to happen because the car is gone by then, and please back me up on this literally. Yeah. They caught every call that they get. And if they see they're getting calls, 5 calls every night at 10 p.m. about people doing donuts in a certain spot, they're more likely to increase patrols in those neighborhoods at those times.
Just put it in as a street racing call in the area of wherever you think it is. Officer will go and check the area. It won't be high priority, but if there's not anything going on, they'll drive straight over there and see if it's actually occurring.
It gives a chance because a lot of times you'll be in the parking lot and to get out of the parking lot, it's kind of a hassle. So if we're on Nielsen or whatever, it's a good chance that we'll intercept them before they get out. So. yeah,
Cheers.
yeah.
Is there another coffee with a cop event scheduled soon? Because they're pretty cool.
We don't have one scheduled yet, but I will actually put that on the list. But we can definitely do that.
We generally start to plan them after MLK Day, because when we go to our holiday schedule, MLK Day, and then we start to open up, and then we have the Greens Festival and some of the things. But we try not to put things that will be competing, so that we get a good turnout. So we should be back on board pretty soon. No, we don't drink.
I have a question about the phone number that you gave us. That's automated line, is there a person at the end of that line in what department?
And that's traffic, that's where the motors are at. During business hours, there's gonna be a live person there. That's their specific office. They don't have a receptionist. So basically, when they're there, they're doing a traffic investigation, doing reports, they're the ones picking that line up.
Okay,
So it
that's
goes
the
directly
part-
to them,
that's the
yeah.
number.
Yeah, and I don't know if, like, I say at 10 o'clock when they're not there, if an automated system picks up, so you can leave a message, but during business hours, someone should be able to pick up.
And it's only for traffic, no other incidents, or is there an incident line too?
Okay, for an incident for police dispatch general,
Yeah.
it's 310-458-8491. That number is a really important number. That's 24 hours, 7 days a week. If you guys can put that into your cell phone, it's probably as good as 911. 310-458-8491.
That's probably a good reminder to put that in the next newsletter.
If we have been having problems with people calling the 8491 for emergencies or situations that could arise to emergency, please call 911 for those things. Don't get yourself frustrated trying to dial a number that is not emergency for a situation that is an emergency or could arise to the level of last third emergency.
If it doesn't qualify as what we think is an emergency, you're not gonna be chastised. We're not gonna admonish you. If you call 911 and it's for, those little bells outside front porches, that chimes, someone's, maybe that would be not the best thing. But even if you did call, our dispatcher will very kindly tell you, hey, next time, use a non-emergency number. But yeah, but we're always available. Yes.
Hold on, we got, go try to go over.
My name is Kaitlin Drisko, I'm the Executive Director at the Santa Monica Conservancy, and I wanted to thank you all. You responded to an event at our location, which is right across from the library. And we kind of have had to handle the transients that are living in that parking lot there. But I did wanted to say thank you, one of our staff, but for everybody to know, one of our staff was verbally harassed, and then we did have some property damage. But I do appreciate all of you who live and walk your dogs along Second Street. Our office is there, and I'm usually there Monday through Friday. And it really helps. It helps that whole area when your activity, when you're walking dogs and you're coming by. So don't hesitate. You can pop in at the shotgun house too if you're on that walk.
I had a quick question for you, since you're in the area.
Yes.
In that parking lot where the diagonal spaces meet the actual, park-like area that's attached to the library.
Yeah.
There was a van with some folks. Are they there all the time? Because before I jump out and get crazy with them, I just want to have some information. Because I saw them and they look like they ought not be doing what they're doing. I don't know if I had any laws broken, but I just want to.
They started maybe December, and they're not there all the time, but they pull in and hang out there.
Okay.
But I want to say maybe for about 3 weeks or so.
Do they do things they ought not to?
Yeah, they get angry with each other.
Okay.
So there's a lot
So
of.
when I go out there and I say I had a complaint in the area for behavior, I just want to be on solid ground because I don't know if you might not know me that well. I don't particularly care for bad behavior, so I saw it and I was like, I'm gonna ask before I go over there.
Yeah, and pop in at our
Okay, I'll
office
come by.
anytime.
Dana?
I was just wondering if you have you addressed the fact that some idiots ride their bikes in the park and on the sidewalk and on the beach instead of in the bike lane? Does that bother anybody but me?
We don't frequently get that complaint, but it doesn't mean that It can be something you can just call, in, especially when you see it. I think a way we can address that, and maybe we have public service officers, there's civilian employees, they're dressed in tan and green. It's a whole army of them. We have like, I think it's 22 of them, and they work parks, beach areas throughout the city. And they address kind of like minor type of issues like that. I'll give you my card, send me an email. I'll send you the supervisor for that unit, and maybe he can send his people there.
Last two questions.
Yes. So I heard you guys hired some new officers. How many new officers do you?
The question is, how many new officers have you hired?
I mean, they just swore in 4 new officers that just hit patrol last week. So they did the orientation, and the issue is not really, it's hiring but our attrition, the people that, when we gain people, we also have people who have retired. So we're trying to keep up with the attrition, not so much getting over the number that we need to 221, I think we're supposed to have. And with injured on duty and retirements, we're kind of just staying neck and neck.
This year, I think we had.
It's difficult. It's a nationwide problem with the hiring. Also, the qualifications to be a Santa Monica police officer and what we're going to tolerate and getting people in the department is not similar to what other departments are allowing. So to get through our process, even me as a lateral, it took me 6 months, and I was a full-fledged police officer with not a lot in my package, but they're very thorough. So that's good, but it does keeps us a little down from getting a number just for numbers' sake.
The chief will tell you, we don't compromise our standards. We just won't. And this past year, I think we retired 25 people. So
we had the highest number of recruitment that we've had in over 20 years or something too. So
We'll get there. We'll get there.
And last
I
question.
just was, when you talked about calling 911, when you call 911, I never really thought about it. From my apartment here in Santa Monica, from Ocean Park, does it go to dispatch locally?
Yeah. So technology, as of, let's say 10, maybe 12 years ago, the system was where you call 911, it would go to CHP, and then CHP would transfer it to the respective agency. Now, with our technology, for the most part, 99% of the time, you call 911 citywide, it's going to go to our police dispatch. If you're either on the freeway or close to the freeway, it might go to CHP, but really we're finding very little of that. For the people who are not sure, like, should I call 8491? Should I call 911? Just know it goes to the same person. It goes to the same center. I used to be a supervisor in the 911 center. And so the phone calls, if 8491 and 911 are called at exactly the same time, then 911 will drop into the dispatcher's ear first, and then the 8491 will come in second. But they go to the same person. They have the same ability to dispatch calls just as urgently. So yeah, it's a pretty good technology, pretty good system, and it's only getting better.
Thank you.
Thank you, officers. Thanks for making time to come here.
Officer Navarro's point, we have implemented a new computer-aided dispatch system that we're replacing the one for 24 years. So, and we're building a new report management system that's going to have more technology and be able to report things online. There's going to be a lot. And so the final rollout for the complete package of this is scheduled for May. We've done the computer-aided dispatch part, but then we just need to work on the report management. We'll be able to pull up reports from when you reported something 2 years ago, it should come to the car, but it's a system built forward. It's not going to go backwards. So if I hyperlink your address, it should tell me everything, how many times that person called, any police reports were made at that location. So it's going to be way, way better. Name suspects off. So I'm sorry you did the heck out of you.
Don't forget, I just want to tell you that. I told you that. Next on the agenda is Kaitlin Drisko from the Santa Monica Conservancy to share with us some of their efforts and goals and priorities.
Yeah. Mario's gonna join me, I think. Hello, and thank you for having me tonight. Mario Bernardi, one of our board members. So we're this year, we really want to increase a lot of our community initiatives. Like I mentioned, we're in the little shotgun house right across from the library, 25 22nd Street. So you're welcome to stop in, see what we're doing. So we really want to reach out, and I think one of you mentioned learning more about history of Santa Monica. That's what the preservation resource is there for. So it's really a community-based program, and we hope to see you all there. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about what our plans are for this year. Our Preservation Resource Center is kind of our home base. That's where I work out of, and we have 2 other staff members. So we're pretty much there Monday through Friday. And and you're welcome again to stop in. So on the horizon, we're really wanting to create a set of partnerships with other organizations and groups in and around Santa Monica. So I'm here tonight because I'd love to be more involved in Ocean Park. It's kind of as our home base. You're our home community. We want to do some more work and coordinate with the California Heritage Museum, the library, and really become a historic resource location for you all to learn more about the city and belonging in our city. We have a few new programs we're going to be unveiling. We wanted to celebrate local history, local historians, and we've been working with Mark Gorman, who's here tonight, there he is, to unveil a new walking tour of Main Street. So we're hoping to get that going, and you'll probably see us. We're going to be doing some beginning tours in spring, beta testing in the spring, so that we can roll those out in the summer. We're going to be doing some more programming out of the Shotgun House. Hopefully you'll see us there more of the evenings. Preservation Next, which is our young persons organization, and young professionals are going to be having open house there once a month. We're going to be running a new program about researching historic properties. We're going to be doing that once a month. And we're hoping to, along with Mario, will tell you a little bit about our tours of the Shotgun House on weekends. We're also hoping to, besides touring the Shotgun House, to be running a tour of 3rd Street Historic Neighborhood. We're also quarterly going to be having Hilda Weiss is one of our volunteers who's a garden expert, and she's been maintaining our native plantings at the Shotgun House. And we're hoping to have a seasonal tour now where we'll open the house for tea and have people come in and enjoy learning and discussing about our drought tolerant plantings. And we're going to be developing an indigenous garden with the landscape architect who works and is a Tonga Gabrielino at Cuyahoga Springs. And he's going to help us develop a little portion of our garden dedicated to indigenous people. We also wanted to let you know we need to all get ready. Next year is the 150th birthday of Santa Monica. So so the Conservancy is going to start some more programming and hope next year to roll out more tours for historic sites to celebrate our 150th birthday. Also, January 28th is the Happy Birthday Marion, which Patty is one of our Annenberg docents who will be there. It's a really fun event at the Annenberg Beach House, and we hope
1 to 3.
Say again.
From 1 to 3.
From 1 to 3 on the 28th. So we hope you come for that. So I want to introduce Mario Bernardi. He's one of our Conservancy board members. He's also an Ocean Park community neighbor. He lives just down the street from the Shotgun House. And he's going to tell you about what it's like to be a docent at the Shotgun House, and hope you'll all come take a tour if you haven't yet, but I'll let Mario tell you.
So, we live in an extremely fortunate community. We're a city of 90,000 plus people, and we've got 5 heavy-duty preservation organizations, and you know most of them, right? Obviously, there's the Conservancy, but there's also the Heritage Museum, the Historical Society, the Library, the Museum of Flying, and Heal the Bay. And all these organizations are trying to do the same thing. They're trying to preserve the best parts of our neighborhood and to try to keep that Santa Monica spirit alive, which is why people want to live here. And some of you said you've lived here since the 60s, coming to the beach since when? There's a reason for that, because this community has managed to preserve itself quite well for a long time. An example of that is the Shocking House. The Shocking House was living about 25 years ago quite well as a shack. It was ready to be torn down and turned into a home of much substantially larger size. And the community rose up and said, we don't want it torn down. We want to save it. The Shocking House, the type of architecture, was at one time the most common form of architecture in the 1890s along the beach. It was the perfect size for a starter home or for vacation rentals. If you didn't want to stay in the big hotels that were up by where the pier is, still are, you could rent a house on the beach. They were an early Airbnb. But then people wanted bigger homes. And so they started getting torn down or they started getting moved. They're portable. Shotgun houses are like the trailers 100 years ago. They're small, 12 feet wide, 30 feet long, easy to move them. And our shotgun house had quite a journey. It was ready to be torn down. The neighborhood rose up, said, no, we want to save it. 200 people and organizations put money into it. And it was moved to the airport. I lived at the airport for a while. Then they were building the airport park, so we had to move again and went to what was known as the Fisher lumber site. And then finally it came back to the little parking lot in front of the library, right across the street from the library. And it's truly a California and Santa Monica type property, right? Because in Santa Monica, even the homes are homeless, they wander around. And so our home finally found a home, and it is owned by the city and rented by the Conservancy as our headquarters. And we would like Ocean Park to view it as your clubhouse. You should be able to come on down at any time and get help with historical issues, preservation issues. The big one that's coming up is the Civic Center, the English building at the high school. There's a lot of issues coming up that are preservation related, and we are a part of that great wave of people who are involved in that. And so we'd welcome you to come on down, either to visit or to be a docent, to participate in any level that you want. And we are considering the things that Kaitlin mentioned, which is the walking tours of the historical district, the walking tours of Main Street that were built on the work that Mark Borman did and continues to do. And, Main Street is still, I would say, very intact in its feeling. It's primarily a 1 or 2 story object. But with the new housing element, it is in danger because Main Street has to be upzoned for better, for worse. And so there could be a lot of future kind of historical and preservation issues that we're going to be involved with, whether we want to be or not. And so we would like to welcome you all to join a group of people. It's a 20-year organization and about 400 members. They're all going full tilt on preservation issues. So, any questions? Yes, Jerry.
Yeah, well, first of all, I wanted to thank Mario and Nina Fresco, the Conservancy, and the good people at the church in Ocean Park for the work that they did to repair that with integrity after the roof had been problematic. I don't know if that is a landmark or if it would even qualify, but it seems like it would. The other question I'd like to ask is the Civic Auditorium. I read that you're trying to get it to be considered as a national landmark. I know it's a city landmark, and how's that going?
We haven't heard a response yet.
Mhm.
It's in process. It's been submitted up to Sacramento. From Sacramento, if it's approved, it would be forwarded to the keeper in Washington. As of right now, we think it might go to the state board around March if it's been approved as a complete application. That's the goal.
So, I'm sorry, if the auditorium, like, what's the ultimate goal of Conservancy? Does it reopen? I mean, does it does reopen, does that mean there'll be venues there again, concerts and things like that? I grew up going to my parents did antique shows there basically when I was a kid.
Long pedigree. We want to keep
Long
that
pedigree.
going.
So
Keep that
so the goal is to
return it.
revitalize it,
Right, in some form, I mean, the.
not make them houses.
Not-
No.
Okay,
no,
excellent.
I mean, the best form of preservation is to keep a building.
Of course,
occupied. It's
absolutely.
been sitting empty since 2013. The most important thing is to really revitalize, find some sort of a best use for it.
Sure.
and Get it back into
I mean, is
having
that,
people.
if someone want to call now and rent it out, could they do that, or is it not?
Just two reasons. It's very hard to use it now as it was intended. One, it's seismically, let's say, built on older standards.
Okay.
Like 75 years ago. the
Sure.
standards. And we've learned a lot about seismic issues since then. And then the other thing is it's not fully handicapped accessible. You can't get to all the places.
Sure.
So those are two things that kind of work against it. And that's one of the reasons it's hard to lease it, because there's going to be millions of dollars of work to seismically upgrade it, make it handicapped accessible and
Right.
energy efficient, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
But once that's done, or part of a package of someone who wants to run it as an entertainment venue,
Mhm.
then we're off and running. Then we preserve the building and it returns to its multiple use. You know, it used to be a place where they televised boxing matches.
Sure,
Yeah.
It had a lot of history there.
yeah,
And it'd be great to add new history to it.
yeah. My parents grew up in Culver City and they would come to the Civic Center. You know,
Right.
they're mobile.
Harlem Globetrotters too.
Sure. Please.
I don't understand there's a lot of houses I've seen, that are really old and they get scratched and the modern goes up.
Mhm.
And yet you have designations for other houses that are historic. It's a disjuncture.
Well, I can explain
If
it.
you're gonna go equitable.
Yeah.
You're not. I don't know how some of these houses, get escaped, because there's, in the planning department, they have photos of the houses, they let them go.
Well, there's the way to look at it. So there's 50,000 buildings in Santa Monica, plus or minus. They're all there. All different sizes, all different shapes, different levels of maintenance. There they are. And of those 50,000, let's say, about 1,500, small group, small fraction of 50,000 are what's our historical register buildings that probably have some criteria. For instance, they were the first of that kind of building, or they were a famous person, Washington slept there, or they were designed by a famous architect, or they were important to the economic history of the city. For instance, the first house in this whole
There's
subdivision.
5 criteria.
Six criteria. But anyway, the point is there's about 1,500 buildings that possibly meet that criteria. Those buildings get really studied when they're about to be torn down. In other words, they really look at them and say, are we losing something really important in our history? We don't want to preserve, nor can we preserve every old building. What we want to do is preserve the ones that are most historically significant, that are most intact. For instance, if you have a craftsman home and someone comes in.
These are intact.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, you try to preserve them all, but it's very hard to preserve them all. Now, the gold standard of preservation is landmarking. When you landmark a building, it's basically going to remain historically intact with its historically defined features. And that's the top of the pyramid. And there's about 160 of those. So, we're working to take as many buildings to that level, but you can't take all the buildings.
Why not?
Well, okay. Do they meet the criteria? You got to look at those 6
Let's say they
criteria.
meet the criteria. These are obviously original houses.
Yeah, no.
What I'm saying is the planning department has photos of these things.
Yes, they do.
And I think you need to coordinate with they're letting it go. The planning department is letting it go.
Well, the planning department only moves as fast as the citizenry moves. If someone rises up and says, I want this building preserved, you can't tear it down. Here are the reasons why. I've got a study showing that this is an important building. This is why you should preserve it. Goes to the Landmarks Commission. If the Landmarks Commission blesses it, then it doesn't get torn down. But it takes the grassroots, right? It takes a village, and you're the village that's here. So, when you hear the one's going to be torn down.
It's hard for me to understand what you're saying. It's the articulation or my hearing. But I believe you, okay? I just thought I'd bring it up.
No, it's a
We've
perfect.
Lost a lot of houses.
I totally agree. I totally agree. We've lost a lot of houses. We've also saved some. Come by the Shotgun House. We can talk about this. We have a beautiful map, shows you where all the landmarks are. You can get into it.
Any other questions? Is there someone online with a question?
No, cool. I'm good.
Okay,
Thank you.
I hope I'll see you all soon.
Thank
you. Now, I think that's it for guest agendas. We're gonna switch over into board business, talk about our 2024 priorities, goals, agenda, as well as elect our 2024 executive board. Before I do that, I do want to sort of say to Dana in the back, here's your iPad that you won. I know a couple people do need to go, so please just exit quietly. And for just FYI, for next month, for anyone that is leaving, our meeting is on February 12th. And we expect Mayor Phil Brock to be here to talk about his priorities for the city. So, shifting into board business, start with executive committee reports. I think the main item of business is electing our 2024 exec board. I don't have anything else from my end on that. Is there anyone else from the executive committee that has something they want to bring up before that?
No. We have that.
Yeah. I'm going to defer to Patty on some of the rules here. I think you have them memorized. So I believe we generally start with electing a president, and then go from there.
I nominate Sean.
Thank you, Judy.
Okay.
Any other nominations for president?
First of all, I think we should identify the people who are on the board.
Okay.
So we don't have people who are voting who don't.
Yeah.
So if you are on the board, please raise your hand so you can see these are the only people who can vote. Okay? You all voted to put them on the board. Now they're going to put the executive committee to vote. So we have, Sean has been nominated and it has been seconded. Is there anyone else who would like to attempt to be the president?
You can self-nominate.
Yeah, you can self-nominate, or if you know someone you think would be. And I'm not gonna go over this little speech each time, it's just, if there's anyone who would like to also run.
Okay, I'm not opposed to challengers. You get to stand up here every month.
So, then you would ask the, what?
There's a lot of responsibilities.
I know there's a lot of responsibilities. It is. So, board, if you agree with the nomination and elect John as our president, please raise your hand. Everybody in the room?
Put your hand up a little higher. I'm not sure.
John,
Abstentions?
I accept.
congratulations.
Moving to VP. Do we have any nominations for VP this year?
Where'd that guy Robbie go?
I think he's hiding in the back.
Right, Robbie.
I moved over here.
Ah.
I nominate Robbie.
Hey, I want to get this one for
Second.
Second. I nominate Christine.
He's second. Well, we need to do the
Go ahead
first.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Want to be the secretary, will
All right, so is there anyone who is interested in being the first vice president? All right, so we have Robbie Lear.
Do you accept the nomination?
I do.
All of those on the board in favor, you can raise your hand. If there's anyone who is not. Unanimous. Now, are we going for a second?
I'm
Go
wondering,
back to that one.
do you do second VP first or secretary?
We'll do secretary first,
Okay.
because, yeah.
No, it's a great step.
Okay, so we should do secretary because
Great.
the second vice president is not mandated.
Great.
Okay, so is there anyone who would like to self-nominate or nominate for secretary?
You get to be on the exec board, you get to set the agenda.
Did you say you wanted to do it again, Chris?
I did not, but I wouldn't
I know.
not do
I
it.
nominate you.
Yeah.
I nominate, Aaron. Nope.
Anyone,
Any other nominations or self-nominations?
Is there a second person?
I'll second.
Nominated me.
Patty seconds.
All right, so,
I think you already indicated you would accept it.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we should say this is by acclamation.
Yeah, but it could be.
Any dissents?
Should I please somebody to say?
Yeah.
I have a routine.
Christina,
Works.
thank you very much.
The secretary, I appreciate you very.
Every day needs to be Christina. She does a lot.
if there is someone who would like to run for the,
Second VP.
second VP, anybody interested?
Any nominations or self-nominations? No pressure.
We did it in that order, so I wouldn't be VP, and then no one would be secretary.
Yeah, and you can't
Yeah.
not have a secretary.
I think we're good then. Matt? Yep.
Huh?
Any nominations for treasurer?
I'd like to nominate Patty.
I second that.
Ian and everyone else in the room seconds it. Patty, do you accept the nomination? Any competing nominations for treasurer? Crickets. Bad strategy. All in favor of Patty returning as treasurer this year? Any dissent? Okay. Thank you, everyone.
All right.
There's a couple board members who are not here tonight. Chris Morgan and John Prindle. One or both has expressed some interest in either returning or being on the exec board, so we may revisit this next month for the open meeting position.
And that's fine.
So, great. Welcome back to the executive board. Not a lot of changes this year. Hopefully that's a good thing. And excited for 2024. I'm honored to be president for a second term. I'm saying now there won't be a third term.
No.
Can't say that.
I can't. But I am super excited for 2024 and I hope there's a lot that we can all accomplish. Because this organization is made up of all of our efforts. And so with that, let's talk about what we're thinking about for this year. Let's let's go over some of the committees from last year and task forces from last year and get some initial volunteers to join them. We'll also be following up to get people to join committees and task forces, but we also need to figure out what our priorities are. If there's things we weren't doing last year that we want to be focusing more on this year. Christina.
Can I just suggest that we do like the business part, the not talking part, like let's do the treasury. So that sounds good.
Sure.
The talking part takes a while.
Sounds good. I
Okay.
agree with that unless someone's opposed.
Is anybody opposed?
I won't be too.
Should I put up the?
Well, first of all, this is January and the member count. Okay? So I did go over the year, the past year, we had 23 new members. Most of them came in, I'm sorry, 23 new members. Most came in August. There was 12 in August. At this point, we have 313 memberships. We did get bronze, silver, and gold memberships for business. We have 4 bronze, 1 silver, and 1 gold. And just wanted to let you know, basically, we're pretty level in terms of membership. That's.
Great. Those organizations, is it 4 new ones or are they new ones?
The
These-
the
this-
business memberships, we only created it last year,
Yeah.
so they're new.
Yeah, yeah. It's, I think what it is, it's $50.
50, 100, and 250.
For the memberships.
Yeah, I think it was the pump station is the gold number at 250. I can follow up on the others.
Yeah. No, it's-
Okay, so I just wanted to get that out of the way. Okay.
Cool.
Now, which one is it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, no, I-
Deferring to Christina.
Like it's just more efficient to do that.
Okay, so once a year, I take about a day and a half, and literally, and I do a treasury report of every single dollar that was spent and how it was spent. And I think we're gonna put it up here. You can't see it that well. But I do a quarterly report where I indicate how much money we have taken in and how much money we have spent. And you would also see what they were, what we did, and I can do the 4th quarter. Is the 4th quarter up there? We could go down to the 4th quarter. Yeah. Okay, so the 4th quarter, we're taking a look at an income for that quarter of $2,641. That's how much we got from mostly donations and membership. Well, all donations and membership, actually. And then when we look at our expenses, well, then it gets a little different. But we spent $7,873. But I must say that some of this spending, a lot of this spending came for, was done for our grant, county grant that we received $5,000 the year before. And the county grant I have already sent into the city so they can take a look at our purchases. So our total account, what we have in the bank right now is $13,728.06 is how much at the end of September we had, December. Now, on January 4th, we received our neighborhood grant money of $7,000, which I have put into the bank and which will be seen on next month's accounting. Now, when we go to the breakdown, I just very quickly want to go through this breakdown, which is farther down. There we go. The membership account, how much money we have gotten every year. This is going to be posted online.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
How much money we have got every year, every month, excuse me. So we took in with our neighborhood grant and our Make Music LA grant, $14,489 for the year. That's how much we actually took in. And then when we take a look at our expenses, we see that for our website, we can go down to expenses. See. Our website was $5,927. We see we pay for insurance, Main Street storage, Main Street merchants was a donation. You look at, we tried to get some ads on Facebook, that was $196. We have, here we have the county grant purchase, and all of this money that you see ending in 5763 is money that was spent for the grant that was given us. Then we spent $1,855 on refreshments and we also have outreach, the Zoom account, the survey, monkey survey, MMLA production. We used about $600. We had 200 back into the coffers. Giveaway purchases for open streets came to over 1,500. Decals, magnets, small purchases, and of course our PO box. So that's $3,157. And actually the total expenses come out to $19,915.91. So we definitely spend a little more than we do. That was a $5,000 expenditures. It's going to help that we just got our neighborhood grant of $7,000, and so now we have over $20,000. So membership, be sure to renew. And I want to thank everyone who has made donations to us. If you're in the room, we've had a few people who do give us donations. And I just try to make sure that everyone knows this balanced out to the penny. It took me about 6 hours to figure out where I had like $80 off. But I just want to make sure that everything is accounted for and that there's a transparency for it. So as I said, it will be
Do we need to vote? Do we need to approve it?
Yeah, you
Right. I move to approve the quarterly and annual treasurer's report for Ocean Park Neighborhood Association.
Second.
Choose the second.
And nobody else wants to do that.
And all in favor? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
Good work.
Any other business along those lines when we talk about?
We should approve the November meeting minutes, but we did that at the end for now.
Yeah, we can do it now, otherwise. If anyone remembers them, Christina
They
sent
were
it
emailed out.
months
They were
ago.
corrected by Nick, who has left us, and resent out.
Any questions on the minutes from last November? Any nomination to approve the minutes? Will and Patty and Robbie second.
Yeah.
All in favor? Any opposition? Great.
Thank you.
Is Jeff here?
Jeff
He's right
Shapiro
outside.
stepped outside,
Oh,
talking with the Conservancy.
okay.
Cool. So thank you everyone for listening to that part of the business. Let's give some committee sort of updates, recaps, and talk about priorities and see if people want to join any or talk about any new ones. The first committee is communications. It's one that I chair. It includes things like the newsletters, OPA Connects that Judy and Will spearhead, the website, social channels, things like that. Newsletters going strong. We're up to almost, I think, 2,200 recipients, which is great. The readership of it remains strong with, I think, a 60%, give or take, open rate for each newsletter.
Wow.
Yeah, my goal though is to try and double that. You know, there's 17,000 people that live in our neighborhood. And so while it's great that 2,200 people get the newsletter, that means 15,000 people aren't. So going to continue to try and think about ways to improve that. If there's anyone interested in joining the communications committee and figuring out new and better ways for outreach and to connect with the community and get more people to know about OPA, engage with OPA, and you know, be more involved in the community, please let me know now or later. Anyone have any questions or thoughts on communications? Anything to add from OPA Connects?
I send the newsletter, I forward the newsletter to about 60 people every time you send.
It helps with the open rate. Jerry.
I don't know if this is a separate one, Sean, but I think a lot of credit has to go for the ongoing efforts to keep the Zoom weekly gatherings going through thick and thin. Will, Judy, and others. And I think it's really been helpful and a dedicated thing. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard work. And there are, I guess, ways to get ideas on how to expand it and think and trying to do that. But it's really a good thing.
Cool. Moving on from communications, member engagement. Robbie, do you want to speak to anything there? I know Chris was in charge of that, and he's not here. I don't know if you want to speak to it or I can.
Yeah, go for it.
Dave?
Yeah, something I'd like to bring back that I did before in the past with OPA is on reestablish some partnerships with some of our other nonprofits. I had a partnership with People Day, Patagonia, Officer, Zuma J, where they support what we do, and sometimes we get swag for events. And so I'd like to, with the board's permission, reestablish partnerships. Those four to start with. And I think that would help with some of the outreach.
I think it would be awesome, especially for spirit, for using that as sort of ways to get more engagement. One of the things we all talked about last year was to try and have more informal events and smaller events as opposed to just focusing on the tentpoles of 4th of July and the open Main Streets. And we didn't do a great job of that. That's one area where I think we.
One of the events I wanted to bring back was the Hill and the Beach pilots.
Yep, absolutely.
Adopt the beach, so we did $3 drops, $26. And make that, our beach.
Love it. Thank you. If there's anyone else that's willing, able, etc., to help with events and membership engagement, that's an area we could definitely use some help. And you don't have to be on the board to do that. Anybody can step in and say, hey, I want to plan a happy hour or a monthly happy hour or quarterly cleanup or anything like that. Happy for OPA to help support anyone who's willing and interested in starting up something around engagement. Last year, Aaron did a fantastic job creating a new task force called the Network, which I look at as another engagement channel. And so please, anyone in this room and anyone that ends up watching this or later or reading the newsletter, I want to encourage you to please come up with ideas for our friends, because we're hugely supportive of all of that.
I had one more, sorry.
Don't apologize.
Lincoln Boulevard Task Force.
Yep.
That was around for 10 years, addressing issues on Lincoln. You name it, if it's an issue, you'd like to address it, make it better. I could probably spearhead that with somebody else. Because something would be an ongoing project.
Great. That was one of the things last year that we also talked about trying to focus a little bit more on, especially given how much development there is on and coming to Lincoln. It's a critical time. So thank you. Jumping over to Main Street. Robbie, you want to talk about all things Main Street?
Sure. Excuse me, so we have our first meeting on the calendar for next Wednesday. Would encourage anyone to come attend. The agenda right now is spending half the time just taking a look back at 2023. Specifically the Open Main Street events, what we liked, what we want to change. But also other initiatives that we think were missed opportunities to work with Main Street businesses, or we want to do differently. So that's the first half of the meeting, and then the second half is really going to be focused on how are we thinking about developing that partnership over time. One big event that a few people have talked about that is coming is the Olympics. How should we be thinking about positioning Main Street as those discussions start? From a resident's perspective as well as a business perspective. Definitely would love people to get interested, engaged. There's an opportunity to do a lot of kind of like working with Main Street Business Improvement Association this year as they start their planning for the monthly Open Main Street events and to help shepherd those to good outcomes. So
What day is that?
it's Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. at Ashlandville. And anybody that isn't on the invite, like it was.
Wednesday in 2 days or next week?
What day is it?
17th, next Wednesday.
Yeah, next
Okay.
Wednesday the 7th. Yeah, so all are welcome. Love to see you there. Did I miss anything there?
I don't think so. Any questions, comments? As we all know, Main Street is critical to the vibrancy of this community. And we've been doing a lot of collaborative work with all of the businesses and other organizations on Main Street, and plan to continue that. So please reach out to Robbie to get more involved on that, or reach out to me if you don't have Robbie's info. Diversity. Ian, want to chat about all things diversity?
I went to a Santa Monica Local Housing Association. They sponsored, and that's the organization set up in part by the help of the city. So that very successfully done. That's fine.
Anything for 2024 we should be thinking about more or differently for diversity, and that's to the room. Judy.
Well, is the network its own separate?
I don't know. That was sort of my next question is how are they together or separate?
I think we are specifically focused on LGBTQ stuff, so we're not going to be a umbrella diversity and inclusion chapter. I think it should be separate.
Any other thoughts on that? I have no strong opinion. Great.
And we can give a report.
Yeah. Sticking with diversity for a minute, anybody else have any comments, questions, thoughts on that? By the way, quick note, next weekend is Martin Luther King weekend. It's not just a 3-day weekend. It's an important weekend. So if you're around, there'll be a variety of events and opportunities to be involved with the community that you'll see in the newsletter over the next couple of days.
Big event for West Side Coalition.
Louder.
There's a big event with West Side Coalition, their 39th annual celebration. So I'll send it to you to put in the newsletter for that Monday.
Thank you.
Dave and I will be training to be precinct people on Monday.
Good.
So all of you we want to see. We're going
We know where you
to see you on March 4th, 3rd, 5th, 6th.
Yeah, it's already important.
Cool. Let's talk about the network, Aaron.
So we planned we're planning our next event, which is on January 27th, and it'll be at Sorry Not Sorry. And it's an open mic night, and I'll have details for you to put that in the general newsletter. Yeah, if anyone wants to get on our mailing list, please give your name, or give Will or Judy or Michelle your name. It has like 75 people on it right now, which is super cool. What am I missing? Anything? I don't know, we're just talking about more events, planning more events. We're kind of like, someone is getting involved in the core group who might bring some cool energy to it. Maybe Tim DeFuria. What am I missing? Oh, we did it. You want to talk about that?
Sure, yeah, we had a really successful toy drive, working with the church in Ocean Park. And a lot of the kids really had a good time and really enjoyed the wonderful generosity of Santa Monicans giving out toys and gift cards for the teens.
That's right.
Yeah, it's really great program.
Judy?
I am going to try and get some money for the network from the county, our county supervisor, Lindsay Horvath. And so I have to find out exactly what they need to know and then give them a list of things that we would spend it on. But that's what we're trying to do. And we'll try to do that probably through OPA, but not yet. It just seems like it would be an obvious way to get it going.
Yep,
So,
and Aaron and I
then-
have talked about that as well, and I've talked with Zach
Good.
about it. I believe the county money is not limited, so making a request for the network does not preclude OPA from any requests as well.
Exactly. I also wanted to say, I did talk to Lula's restaurant again, and they would be happy to have another event for the network. And of course, anybody is invited to come to that. And what we did was we just kind of gathered in the back part of Lula's and met each other. And kind of, it was just very social.
Great. And for March, I mean, we're not actively going to start planning anything until this next one is over, but in March, we're thinking of doing something around like women's wellness and yeah. So that's the next.
Cool, thank you. By the way, this is a great example of people taking initiative. A year ago today, that organization or task force, whatever you want to call it, group didn't exist, and now it's 75 people and probably the most active group in OPA. So thank you for taking the initiative, and I'm using that to try and encourage anyone else to take initiative around similar things that they're passionate about. Renters' rights, homelessness.
I think we had a little bit of momentum around the middle of the year, and I would say we lost a little bit of that momentum going into the end of the year, in all honesty. So we're actively, anybody that is interested in the housing and homeless, kind of like issues, encourage you to come out. I do know that Francis and I are going to grab. We need to find a new location because we lost Laura, which is our staple location. But a new location, it'll be the fourth Monday of the month, to kind of like talk about those issues that are front and center with housing and homeless folks. So, yeah, any questions on that? That makes sense. I mean, I can tell you that it encompasses renters' rights. Like one of the discussions that we had was about the Civic Center. It's an amazing idea to think about having events there on a regular basis. We talk about the park, and we say the park, or the airport could be a beautiful park. How do we also accomplish some of our housing goals and make housing affordable for people that want to stay in Santa Monica, or become homeowners in Santa Monica? So these are the types of debates we have, and just kind of like talk about what is the state doing, what are other locations doing, what do we need to be focused on at the city level to you know, are we doing it right? Are we not doing it right? So that's the type of topics. If anyone would love to join, I'd love to see that. Yeah.
What is this? Is this a committee or is this part of OPA?
So,
Sorry, I'm new to.
yeah. So this is a committee. Basically, what these were two committees that when I first joined, I was like, wait a second, there are 80% of the residents in Santa Monica who are renters. Like, is that represented here at OPA? And so that was like kind of like a task force that got started, and we had some of those conversations. And then the homeless one was very, like visible coming out of COVID. And so that was a topic. And actually the county of LA had some forums that like we attended as a group, and like, I think there's things that could probably come from it, but like, it's been a really interesting way to learn and discuss how it's being handled and how it can be handled differently. And then, I don't know, I think that like with the election that's gonna take place this year, I feel a lot more informed on those issues. And so hopefully like, we can, not under the OPA umbrella, but help to inform others, like, okay, that makes sense, or I don't know if that's, anyway. So those are the types of conversations, and yeah, we'd love to have you come out. I'll give you your email if you want to get added to it. Cool. Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions? Sorry.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are all of us on those emails? Like, we signed in with our email. Do we all get the newsletter and all these committees?
I think Sean, are you gonna?
Yeah, so generally, if you've attended a meeting like this, I'll add you to a separate email list called Engaged at OPA to give updates on here's opportunities to get more involved, which is sort of just something, not anything with any regularity. It's just a way to keep in touch with people that have leaned in some way, shape, or form. So when I look at sort of like the community, there's 17,000 people. And if you look at it as sort of a big funnel, we've got over 2,000 people that have said, hey, I want to know what's going on in the community and signed up for the newsletter. From that 2,000, we've got probably 150 or so people who have said, yeah, I want to learn even more, and have either written or attended a meeting or whatever, and all that sort of the engaged list. And then further down the funnel is, board members and committee members. And so that's sort of how I
Also
look at
just
the funnel.
members. If you're just.
And general membership as well, sorry.
The 313 people who are members should get it automatically, and if you are a member and you don't, then you should contact me or Sean, and we'll figure out what's going on with the website.
And the bottom of the newsletter always said like when the meetings are coming up for these task forces. Like when Robbie will let Sean know like, oh, this task force is meeting this next Monday, and he'll pop it in. So look for that at the bottom.
Yeah, but if you're not a member and it's $10, $20, or $30 for membership, it really would be nice if you did join for the $10, $20, or $30 a year, because that goes towards what we are trying to do across the year. So if you're here, you're not a member, I'm here, I'll be happy.
We can fix that. And it's tax deductible. Education. Yeah.
So we took kind of a siesta there, and we had to choose a new time to meet because we kept running into the OPA Exec Board meeting. So gotta work on a new time to meet, but we did have a engaged community member is kind of starting something with the high school. This year, it's too late to kind of make it its own club, so it's gonna be house owner, another club at Samo. But it's kind of like a neighborhood improvement group, a subgroup. She had a group of teens hanging out, kind of leaving trash behind, and she's like, hey guys, that's not cool. And they came back and cleaned it up, and then they found they like working with their hands. So what I'll tell you is that if anybody does have some stuff in the neighborhood that maybe could use a little zhuzhing, we have some kids at Samo that have decided that they want to learn how to use tools. They want to dig in a garden, And we have a community member that really has enjoyed kind of working with these kiddos. So that's kind of under that umbrella for right now. So, but well, I mean, they removed all the cigarette butts. I've got pictures. They planted some plants, you know. The other thing, yeah, zhuzhing. I don't know. The other thing is, you know, I keep seeing on Instagram, the school district is having all these like, they're breaking ground at Will Rogers and all the various schools, and we're not getting any real information on John Muir Smash.
Yeah.
So it's time to kind of put the pressure on that again. So that's, and luckily someone from our group has spent some time going over my initial kind of letter, and so we're gonna be ready to, I think, send it to the board and see if that's something that wants to just come from my group or if the whole board wants to sign it.
Jerry, you have a question?
Well, that's just something, because, I think it was in the newsletter, and I know Will had sent it, because, you know, a long time bus rider, and they're gonna have these focus groups, and it's only the neighborhood groups that they're reaching out to, including OPA. And I was interested, and I registered, and they confirmed me for one of the meetings. There's 3 meetings online they're going to be doing to talk about, I guess, improving transportation. It's a group called Brighter Blue COA, and you know, so I mean, I'm not representing anyone in particular, but I'm just a person that's interested in it, and I don't, you know, this sounds like a good thing they're doing. I wanted to report on it.
I'm
Oh,
fine, but you can totally, I mean, they actually said that we can send their invites to anybody who wants to go.
Oh, great.
Please,
Yeah.
you all are by extension invited if you want to come and talk about.
I sent it to the engaged list.
The city buses. In fact, I
Yeah,
ride
3
buses with my
different-
kids do. So I talk to my kids about what do you like, what do you not want to change.
Right, yeah. And there's 3 different days starting tomorrow for 1 hour each.
You had a question?
Oh, I was wondering if it was virtual. It's,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm doing the 1 hour show tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or Wednesday.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
Unless there's anything else on education, arts task force, I don't have any active members who are here tonight. It's something that we haven't done a great job with last year. We did a fantastic job when Evan was involved. Art did a great job carrying that, but now it's sort of floundering. You know, there's a lot of great public art around the city, and some of that we've helped spearhead, like beautifying K-rails, etc. If there's anyone that wants to take a more active role in spearheading that, that would be awesome. So please follow up. Yeah.
What was, or this is a big question, I realize maybe I should talk to you about it separately, but like, what did you have access to and like what was done? I'll connect with you about that later, but I'm just interested.
For
like 2 years ago when you said someone was really active in that, like.
well, the super short version is Evan Meyer, who's former president of OPA, is started Beautify Earth, which you've seen that signature on a lot of public murals around town. And so he really spearheaded doing a lot of arts work around town. And then during COVID, Mark Morgenstern, also former president, spearheaded or at least led a lot of our efforts to get funding for beautifying the K-rails on the Main Street.
And the funding came from the city.
Yeah.
At about $30,000 to be utilized for those K-rails.
So there's funding available to support arts programs, and that's something we want to continue to do.
We still donate to Beautify Earth.
No.
No.
I think that's being sunsetted, and
Gotcha.
Evan just took a full-time job with the county or the state or something.
Okay.
So he maybe over that.
But the city does have art grants.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. John's not here today, but he said he wanted me to talk a little bit about something he's gonna try and do some spearhead, some work around this year, which is really thinking 5 or 10 years out. And what we need to be doing more of as a community to be advocating for infrastructure, capital improvements, thinking about sort of the possible changes that are coming to Main Street, what the airport to park initiative means, the civic, the Olympics, and really not just be thinking about tomorrow, but next week proverbially, and is going to be trying to be, helping us all think a little bit more about down the road stuff. We already talked about Lincoln. Hey, want to talk about emergency preparedness? This is something we really didn't do a great job on last year. And luckily, until New Year's, we didn't have any earthquakes. But we're starting to get some reminders that we need to be prepared.
Well, starting off this year, I would like to be the liaison between the Office of Emergency Management and OPA. And for the first time, I got involved in the Office of Emergency Management through OPA when I first joined as a community emergency response team member. And for the first time in 3 years because of COVID, I was in the last class in 2020. So they're offering the CERT, Community Emergency Management Response Team, classes. You need to take 3 classes, and they will commence later on this month over 3 Saturdays. And Saturdays will be, I have it right on the fold. Saturdays will be January 20th, 27th, and February 3rd. They're basically like 8-hour classes. And if you wanted to get involved in this team, you need to take those 3 classes. You can take them all together, 1, 2, 3, or if you don't have the time, you could take one this go round. I'm sure they'll offer another one, like the second one when they do it again, and the third one when they do it again, or any combination thereof. But it's a great way to be knowledgeable about emergencies and what happens around us during the emergency. And you can participate in any level, whether it's just taking the class and getting a helmet and backpack and an N95 mask and a few other things. Or there are other opportunities like if they have like a drill with the fire department and the hospitals, you can be a patient and get carried, on a stretcher from one place to another. But it's a great way to get involved, and you can do it on any level. I do it on a level of disaster communications, and because I'm not going to go out on a search and rescue team, you're going to have to search and rescue me afterwards, but I can handle a radio, and I'm somewhat knowledgeable in radio communication, so I participate on that level. But it's really open to you, and I invite you, if you would like to attend or get more information, please contact the Office of Emergency Management at OEM@santamonica.gov. OEM@santamonica.gov, and you can get information on that and a lot of the other programs. And I'll be reporting to you, on the monthly basis as I get more information on other matters.
Message me or Abe if you have follow-ups or didn't write that down.
And I just want to say here, a few of us already have gone through the program. And I know that Will and Dave and I have, it's very worth it. Just for your own personal safety as well.
Thank you. Any other potential OEM? Any other potential task forces that we should be talking about tonight? And just because we don't talk about it tonight doesn't mean it can't happen later.
Do we have an infrastructure group that just looks at infrastructure in Ocean Park?
I think that's what John's gonna try to spearhead this year.
Okay.
So he'll talk about that next month when he's here, or if you want to be involved, reach out to him. Cool. I want to wrap, I know we're running a little bit long, so I'm gonna try and wrap this up really quickly. We've already done some of the logistical items.
I just have a quick announcement.
Yep.
Okay. My house that is a landmark, is, ready to welcome one or two new housemates. So if you know of anybody who is interested in living in Ocean Park, in a group, let me know.
One more, not event happening, but thing happening is, January 23rd, 24th, and 25th is the annual homeless count. If you're not familiar with it, citizens go around various neighborhoods at night after dark when people are hunkered down to literally count how many homeless people there are. It's a critical function for the city, for the county, because that's what determines funding and resources for the upcoming year, is the number of people and where they're located. My wife and I are gonna be doing, or spearheading a group, an OPA group, on January 24th. If anyone wants to join us, please let me know. If anyone wants to do a different night and wants to try and get more people involved, let me know as well, because then I can promote that newsletter and try and get a few more people. I think a group can be as few as 4 people.
You said that they do it on the 23rd as well.
Yeah, so I think in Santa Monica, they're doing 23rd and 24th, but they're doing it 23rd, 24th, 25th throughout the county, different neighborhoods each night. But I think it's 23 and 24 in Santa Monica.
No, I just, my question is the vicinities.
Yeah, if I can share the link. Every neighborhood has its own. So they do it by cities and neighborhoods. Like Venice has its own, etc. Cool. Any other sort of open outstanding items? Anyone want to mention anything else? Cool. Well, is there a motion to adjourn? Yeah. Jeff just keeps getting beat to the punch today. Jeff seconds. All in favor. Thank you, everyone. Happy 2024. And see you February 12th here.
Congratulations.
If a couple of you can help move chairs back into the conference room, that would be awesome.
I have to run.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think.
Next talk, I need to know here, so.
Back into the right. The first conference, yeah, all the way well. Yeah.
This is our first. I feel like we're supposed to.
So,